She's never satisfied. This is what we sound like when Gerald cries. What's up, y'all? This is your boy Gerald. It is Thursday the 24th, no, 25th, August 2016. How's everybody doing? I know that you're almost bringing a close to your week. One day away, 24 hours, and you slip into another beautiful weekend. Some of y'all are going to make it to your lunch break, and you're going to dip out. Now, who am I talking to? Already got plans. You already, mine is already on the road saying, well, you know what? I just need to make it through this to my lunch break, and then I'm going to get just make sure your sick leave and your annual leave is good to go. You'll be straight. All right, y'all. So I wanted to put this video out today because I kind of touched on it before, but it also goes so well with the climate of 2016 because there's so much that is being unearthed from a political element, a social element, as well as a personal element, because everything bleeds into everything, y'all. Everything is meshed, everything is one. It just depends on the dynamic and the perception that you have on it. But I wanted to share an experience that I had yesterday because I know I'm not the only one, and for those who have not, there's an opportunity to gain some wisdom. So yesterday, while at work, I had a situation with a fellow employee in which I had to take actions to get it corrected. And since we believe we are in a society where everything is so PC and it's all about job security, you have to now take steps to not only protect yourself, but also ensure that everyone's rights are protected. And I had no problem with that because I needed clarity, and I had to make sure that my requirements were being facilitated. So had to have a little arbitration go on. And instead of having a shouting match, instead of allowing your emotions to pretty much write a check that your ass can't cash, or putting you on the level of the transgressor. For those who are in positions of leadership or management, you know what I'm talking about. You have to more or less, you got to dot your I's and cross your T's. And I understand how sometimes when you go in an operation or you go in a work environment where some work environments are very congealed. There's a flow of how they do business, completing the task. And then on the contrary, you can tell when you can walk in an environment and it feels like the air has been sucked out of the room. It definitely makes you want to scratch your head now, don't it? Like, well, what the hell is going on? Well, I always look at new opportunities as new opportunities to learn from. So I did just that and brought the person in, brought my superintendent in, brought in union representative. Now, we're all sitting at the table waiting for the person to come in. And soon as they walk in, their emotions go 160 degrees north, just belligerent. And it was a blessing in disguise because it let me understand exactly where they were emotionally compared to the behaviors that had been going on for a significant period of time. And being that I was privy to work along with this person, the difference was I got promoted. So, just as Maya Angelou said in one of her poems, when a person shows you who they are, you believe them. For some, that could be a stark revelation because we automatically want to look at the good of a person. And usually that is the case. But sometimes what you may be witnessing, you may be in the midst of an opportunist. How about a manipulator? And a person that has deep-seated control issues, which went hand in hand because their behavior was without control, was all impulsive, there was no tact. And I know there's somebody that you got that one person, you can't even talk to them, you can't even ask them what time it is, and automatically they fly off the handle. You're like, why are you angry? It's 6 o'clock and it's 7:30 in the morning. Why are you so mad? It's because there's something going on within them that they have yet to address or have the tools emotionally, maybe the clarity, maybe to take accountability for what has been taking place in their lives. See, y'all, I've come to understand, y'all, when the old saying or the old adage of misery loves company, it is very true because, see, you are going to be exposed to different types of people along your journey of your growth. These people are exposed or revealed in your life to show you what you need compared to what you don't. So it's very imperative that you are connected to your discernment. Sure did. So we bring this person in and combative right off the bat. And what it boiled down to is I asked them to do their job. And in turn, they told me what they gonna do. Well, sure, you're entitled to your opinion. Nothing wrong with that, but there's a time and place of doing and conducting business. And the fact that what was being revealed was a battle for control. See, one thing I'm not going to do is allow someone to dictate and control how I personally respond myself. Talking about my actions. So, in other words, two people, one person can't argue by themselves. You must have sender receiver. And that was something that I refused to do. Can I? Yes. See, here's the thing. Yes. See, when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you in the reach the intended heart of mine. But see, I convey this because I do it out of compassion and love for you. Yeah, you. And I also know that you would want someone to treat you the same way you want to be treated. Well, unfortunately, there are some people that didn't have that. Maybe they weren't reared in an environment where that dialogue existed. So they feel that they have to scrape and scrap and for everything they have. Their senses are heightened when there is no threat. Is that your responsibility to get them right? No. But you can set the tone. But you can't make a person walk it. Who am I talking to? So, management, arbitrators there, I'm sitting there, and they're standing up, ranting, and trying to convey the victim card of why am I being singled out when this is habitual behavior, not with one supervisor, but three, as well as the position of trying to gain an audience or sympathy and support. Well, so just so happened, yesterday was my day. And instead of being like my predecessors and letting it slide, I nipped that right in the bud real quick. Yes, I did. Because I had to do it because for two reasons. Is to send the message to everyone else that that behavior will not be tolerated. You're here to do the job. And if you don't want to do a job, then don't come to work. Just make sure your leave doesn't run out. Just make sure that, and see, that's the thing. A lot of people have this disposition that their actions don't have recourses. Some people know that as karma. Some people know that as divine intervention too, because that's really what it is. You can't treat people a certain way and don't expect that not to come back, because it does, y'all. Oh, trust and believe. You know that lie that you told and forgot about it? Well, Lord behold, that lie is looking right back at you. Why? Because it's truth. So I knew to do one thing during this whole shenanigan. I let everybody talk. Let the management talk. Let the arbitrator talk. Even let the person of interest talk. Everybody had everything to say, right? Then I said what I needed to say. And everything that was put out as I'm the victim, I'm singling out, came down to one thing. Did I ask you to do what I need you to do? The variables of I did it, how I wanted to do, that's not for debate. Did I ask you to do what I need you to do? Did you do it? No, you didn't. So there's the cause and effect. So I had to address that. And then I had to do it for a deeper reason, because this also will set precedents with the fellow co-workers, because let's call it for what it is. People are always watching, they're always assessing. And what you don't want to do is allow a spark to become a flame, which becomes a fire that is out of control. So I had to make sure that it was zero before it could even start. Because I knew that if I didn't, then you lose respect of the people you work with and the people that are watching what you do. Because you do understand, y'all, there is somebody that does not have the caliber nor the integrity that you do. And secretly, and I hate to say this in 2016, secretly, they jealous. They're very jealous. They're very insecure about what you're doing. See, nobody can live your life but you. No one can claim your blessings but you. But if you allow someone to try to throw obstacles down, to sabotage what your marriage stand for, then you're just to blame. And that's why demons have to stay employed, y'all. They have to. Because the devil's work is never done. Now, I could have easily just allowed this person to knock me off of my square and lowered myself and just as a man and just took my hand and reached for his tonsils and been done with it. But then what would have that done? That would have caused me to lose my job. That would have lost respect. And it would have also sent a message to those who are above me that, hey, you can't deal with conflict. So, as we're in the break room trying to get this resolved, mind you, I brought the arbitrator in the behalf of them because I didn't want them to turn around and use that as, oh, you're ganging up on me. No, this person's in your behalf to make sure that whatever I'm conveying to you, my expectations, are within standards of the job requirement. So as they finished saying what they said, and this person said all kind of disrespectful things, tried to attack my character. And I just sat there. And let him say what he needed to say. And then one by one, everything that he said, I just took the air out of everything. I needed he needed a wheelbarrow to pick his face up when he realized that you just played yourself. Because now you have shown yourself in a bad light. Not only to the people you work directly with, the people that you work above. Now, mind you, this is a habitual pattern. So the commonality is you. You're the issue. So I knew after 30 minutes, it was almost 40 minutes. It was 30 minutes, and then I ended up having to go into another meeting with fellow coworkers in my position to talk to upper management, and so that they could reiterate their requirements of us. So this played out for almost 2.5, 3 hours. But you know what was so blessed about that? I sat there both times, and the meeting wasn't about me at all because I'm doing my job. I'm doing what's required, and that's what it's about. You come in there, you come to work, do your job, go home. The key word is to get home. You have a life outside your job. But you do understand there are some people that they have things going on outside the job that they're wrestling with, and it affects the behavior of what is going on inside the job. Now you can sit there and try to be there as a friend, a coworker, but at the end of the day, it's still the individual's decision on how they're going to resolve whatever issue that they have, because it is their life. And you have to know when to step back. I'm a firm believer of this, y'all. We are in the season of the opportunists. But the one thing about the opportunists, they come with a certain signature. Number one, they have no control over the things they do. So they lack self-control. They use means of covert and manipulative tactics. They try to pull strings. They try to sway the dynamic because they don't have the integrity to do it themselves. These are the same people that you see always in people's ears trying to sway the mindset of the masses. Now, you do understand, y'all, we live in a world where there are a lot of followers and there are very few leaders. And that's why the leaders have the task of having to dot their I's and cross their T's, because there's always somebody that's willing to watch at the door, waiting for an opportune time to pull the rug from under. Why? Because secretly they are envious of what you do. And they also understand that, yes, this could be you if you're willing to claim it. But most won't. See, most want the bounty, but don't want the work. Who am I talking to? You are the pack mule of your job. They know it. Reputation precedes you. You are the one that gets it done. But there is always one that wants to get paid for doing none. Who am I talking to? But I've also come to know this, y'all. Misery loves company. And after the tactics and the covert means have been exposed, that's when the unraveling begins. And the recklessness starts to come. And it becomes brutally honest and brutally obvious that these people are very insecure. They wish that they could walk in your shoes, but they don't want to lace them up. And which is contradictory, because it's about free will. It's a choice. Just like I can't, for those who are in school, I can't make you do your work. But you know, the end goal is to get that certification, get that diploma, get that degree. I don't have a right to stand on that stage holding that because you've done the work. But you have those people that want to share your light. See, that's a spiritual thing, y'all. That's what you're witnessing. That's why when that person comes around, you notice there's a certain commonality amongst people, because see, those people have gotten to a place where they have accepted who they are and they condone. So really, one apple does not spoil the bunch. It's your responsibility to not be in the bunch to begin with. Maybe you weren't even supposed to be on the branch, because all it takes is one worm to corrupt the batch. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm watching all this bickering, and I notice a commonality from the people that I work side by side with, as well as the commonality of those who work under me. And what I saw was non-accountability. Everybody wanted to point fingers, but nobody wanted to take ownership for what you do. But the funny thing about it is, when it's time to get paid, we're all doing this, right? Don't work that way. So I thought it was a blessing because I got to bear witness this person's true position of how he saw me. And I was like, it was kind of brutal to hear what they were conveying, but I was grateful because it goes back to what I just said, which was what Maya Angelou said. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. Maybe it's not your responsibility, queens, to dumb down. Why are you taking a step back to walk forward with that person? No. That's why it's very important that you take accountability for where you're going. Stay connected to who you are, the real you. Not the person you project, the person who you are within. And get that right. When you get that right, you'll also notice that your finance will get right. You'll also notice that your environment will change. And as well as your perception and how you see the world too. You'll see it. That's what I tell you. You have some people that they don't want to go through life on their own merits. They want to go through life on how life gives them the crumbs. That's not your story. Never was. So what ended up happening? I turned around like I did when I walked in initially. I let everybody say what they had to say. And I added the period to that sentence. And they knew exactly where I was coming from. And I gave them the option. You can either do what I asked you to do, or you can go find somewhere else to work. Because it's not my responsibility to make sure that you do what you need to do. Just as like it's not my position to spend your money. So I ended up, we had a couple missions were done. And I noticed after an hour or so, they were gone. They made sure that they did not. When they saw me, you would have thought somebody had a lighter on their butt. They were, because they knew deep down inside that they had just played themselves. And they also knew that, well, if I put it this way, you have some people that don't have cut cards, and they'll have a position like, okay, vengeance is mine. I'm about to make your life a living hell. You see it on the job all the time. You got that one boss who's like, you're going to do what I tell you, I'm going to write you up. You breathe wrong, I'm going to write you up. No. My position was it's been addressed. It's been addressed, so it's been identified. So now, what happens from this point on, that's on you. Let me show you how God does. So, because we are in a position of pretty much like junior management, the fellow workers know that you're limited in what you can do. It has to come from the people above you. They have to proceed it and send it up to HR. They know that. So they know that they look at, well, what you gonna do, Bart? You really don't have any weight. I'm gonna show you what God does. So before the end of the day comes out, the arbitrator comes back through. They say, oh yeah, I might as well go ahead and take advantage of this opportunity. And so I'm glad that you brought me to light on what was going on, and you gave me a front seat to see it for myself. And with that being said, I want to also bring this to speed because I was going to have to brief y'all later anyway. But starting effective October 1st, the Department of Defense has a new evaluation system. They have a new evaluation process. So the evals that we would receive would only require you to show performance. The new eval shows behavior. So that gives more. So once again, when I saw that, I was like, thank you. Because now that just put empowerment back on me because guess what? We're the ones doing the evals. See how God do? See, the devil wants you to believe that what this is all you gonna suffer. That's all I got you. And he wants more than ever. The devil wants he wants your mind. Because if he controls your mind, he can control your body. Because it's all tied into free will. It's tied in, y'all. So when you see things that are revealed before you didn't understand why, just think back. What you're seeing now is a byproduct of something that's already occurred. There was already the nuances that's the insight that occurred before, but the wisdom is coming after the fact or the cause of the fact, right? And that's what's going on. So what's happening is all those people that thought they got over were able to do now they're clenching it down to the point now it's like we're going to hold you accountable of everything you do, and if you don't do it, guess what? That's where we're going. That's where the Department of Defense, active duty, civilian, are going to be graded upon effective October 1st. And that's because of the new fiscal year. So it just amazed me because I was like, wow. But what I realized on that whole situation was I was witnessing to somebody that had deep-seated issues and spent more time deflecting from the first time they walked in the room. There was no accountability at all until I spoke on it. Are you going to do what's required or you're not going to? That's just the bottom line. You got no choice. Your choice is to do it or don't. And at the end of the day, it's about money, ain't it? Reap what you sow. So don't get sidetracked. Don't get caught up on what they're doing. You know that's not right. Why are you keeping company with someone that can't help you grow? That's why when you hear this, birds of a feather flock together. You know why they flock together? Because they all think the same. So they all go in the same direction, good or bad. But if you're not conscious of who you are or in tune with who you really are, your identity, how about that beautiful spirit inside? You will easily be misled. If those birds that flock together knew that the direction that they were going was going to end up causing them their mortality, how many birds would be flying to begin with? See, it takes courage to claim your life back, y'all. Do you understand that? Just as well as it requires work for you to receive the reward. Isn't the end goal to be happy? To have the life intended? Because if it is, what do you got to talk about? See, a person can change every day, any moment. They can. The moment that they take accountability for their life. The moment that they're willing to grind their feet and do that self-inventory. And when they decide to take that self-inventory That is the moment that they'll embrace being vulnerable. How about taking the steps to be transparent? That's the true meaning of being emotionally at peace and free. You're not supposed to be waking up in the morning with conflict on your brain, y'all. Conflict on your brain is nothing but distraction and delay. And does it not surprise you why your finances are also affected by that? See, if your mind's not right, your decisions ain't gonna be right. And if your decisions ain't right, it's gonna affect your what? Your time. And what is time? Time is the greatest commodity you'll ever possess. Why? It's the closest representation of who you are. Because nobody can make you do what you don't want to do. But as they also say, we teach people how we want to be treated too. So maybe this is the time you learn to use that beautiful word called no. Because the word no does not mean forever. It means under review. If you don't meet the standards, then correct it. That gives them a chance to make proper corrections. Don't take it personal, it's business. But it showed me how vulnerable this person was. And I was like, wow. Because, see, a person that doesn't want to take accountability for their lives are the first ones that will place the victim card in front of you. Who am I talking to? You over there doing what you need to do. They're over there slacking. And then when the hammer drops down, you getting in trouble for them. That's not supposed to happen. But see, we got this no snitching mindset. Really? So does it surprise you why your money is reflected that way? You say don't snitch, but yet you're paying for it. Who does that? You don't get a badge for being no martyr. You don't get a pass for being a victim. You don't get no pass. Because when you become a victim, guess what? That means somebody's controlling what you do, what you say, and how you act. That's not your story. It never was and shouldn't be. So that's why when you see people out there complaining, just take this and stop. If they're complaining about something, what are they doing to correct it? If they're spending more time doing this than trying to fix it, they're doing it for their own edification. It's a ploy. Because basically what they're saying is, I'm complaining because I don't want to do the work. And if I raise enough ruckus, that'll get me out of doing the work. Stand strong. Stay in your conviction. Because you got to understand, if you unwieldly, I understand we naturally want to reduce conflict, right? But at what cost? At what cost? If it causes you to have unrest, you shouldn't be going to work, come home the same way, and you're feeling all jacked up. Your sleep patterns messed up. How many of y'all are doing this? You've gone through your day and it's trying to go to bed, but yet your mind is still wandering. It won't stop. Why? Because there's something inside you that you have yet addressed. What are you afraid of? That problem that you keep putting off. It's time that you have courage to address it. How about that? Maybe it's required for you to speak your truth about something. Because listen, there's a lot of people walking around that are internalizing wounds and burdens that were never theirs. Never. It's not your responsibility to fix them. It's your responsibility to fix you. And that's why you see this. That's why you have those who have compared to those who don't. Those who have are doing the work. So this goes back to this. What you got to talk about? Because there's a lot of people on this planet that have loyalty to their pain. They're more loyal to their pain and disappointment than their happiness. Why? Because you saw your mom deal with conflict that way? Because you saw your loved one deal with conflict that way? Nah. What you're witnessing is a problem, is a person that has that does not have the ability to problem solve. That's why when you hear people say communication is about sender receiver, well, guess what? If you're constantly doing this, when someone is trying to convey information that you need, you may miss a small detail that will impact the outcome. Who am I talking to? Well, let's call a spade on this. You do understand what's going on is you are seeing the people in your life as who they are. They fit in two categories. They are either your blessing or your lesson. If they're your lesson, it's because there's something in you that has a connection for you to learn from. Right? Do you really? You don't understand that when, first of all, you are a spiritual being before you were in the flesh. And this was something that was agreed upon to walk on this earthly realm. So this is what is part of your life. But it don't have to be the end all be all. And really, let's say this too. That's why you see old people. And it's such a sad thing. You see that old man, he mean. He bitter.
Why do you like soul food?
You see that woman, and she just angry, It's because they never had the tools to resolve conflict, because they lacked accountability within themselves. So guess what? They more or less settled. They took on a position of, well, this is all it's going to be, and I'm just going to be, this is my life. That ain't your life. That's what the devil wants you to believe. So I can't have sympathy for someone that doesn't want to change their life. It's not your responsibility to make someone walk with you. If you're in an environment where it feels like someone's pulling teeth just to function, that's not the environment you're supposed to be in to begin with. You see this all the time. There's always that one person say, I hate my job, I hate my job, I hate my job, right? But yet they show up to work every day. Who does that? Who does that? You hate your job with a passion, but you show up every day to work. Why? Because you're dependent on that paycheck. But no one's keeping you at that job. If you're so miserable, maybe two things are occurring. Maybe you were guided to work in that job, and that job was supposed to be a springboard to where you ultimately need to be, which takes courage, which requires you to be transparent with yourself. And you can't be transparent with yourself unless you are vulnerable. I'm not saying be vulnerable to the world. You got to be vulnerable with yourself. Because if you ain't right, your environment's not going to be right. Do you understand that? That's the cause and effect. Because as I've always echoed, what you put out is what you get back. Energy out is energy return. So whatever's found in your spirit is going to be the beacon of what's attracted back for you to be your reality. That's why they always say what goes around comes around. But that's also why God said, vengeance is mine. And that is why he's a jealous but loving God, because those who were last will be made first, and those who are first will be made last. And guess what? You're going to always have someone that will not have the integrity nor the fortitude, and they're going to always wish harm on you. They're going to always wish that you are on their level. Why? Because they don't have to do the work. That's why misery loves company too. But you got to be truthful to yourself to acknowledge what you're seeing. Yes, 2016 has been the epitome of the season of the opportunities. There's been so much going on, y'all. Look at this. 2016 has been a very cataclysmic year on all levels. There's been so much bloodshed. There's so much unrest, so much anarchy going on. But guess what? Just like the lens of a camera, that media is only going to show you what they want you to see. So what I'm asking you right now is to have the courage. What is it that you're going through right now? And then ask yourself this. What are you afraid of that's keeping you from making the steps to resolve it? And I guarantee two things going to come out of it. You're going to realize that communication has something to do with it, which means there's a truth issue there. Because you have people that are terrified of the truth. You have people that don't want you to see who you are destined to be. They see that in you already, and they're praying, they're banking that, they're trying to do everything they can to prevent that from coming to pass, y'all. You understand that, right? That may also be a soul contract or a soul tie too. You can have a soul tie with somebody that you're not in love with. It doesn't have to be social. I mean, it doesn't have to be sexual. It doesn't. It is the connection between two human beings. But guess what? God doesn't waste no opportunities. He don't waste no opportunities, because the two gifts he gave you was, number one, to unconditionally love yourself. And the second gift was free will. So you have the right to choose. So with that being said, you have the right to choose to be miserable. Or you could have the courage to fly. Who am I talking to? Maybe now's the time that you got to take a step back and start looking at those things that you had in the closet. Who am I talking to? You know, those things you thought, well, if I give it some time, it'll blow over. But all it did was give life. It started to take a life of its own, and now you're kind of nervous because it wasn't you're thinking about simpler times where that wasn't the factor. What is being required is that you have the ability to ground your feet. Take ownership of your life. That's why I keep telling y'all, claim your life back, because nobody can live your life, and you're not supposed to settle. Don't you realize every time you settle, you block your blessings? That's why you notice this. Every time that you do something that does not enhance the best you coming out, that same thing that you tried to look away from, there it is. It always finds a way. It's always at the intersection of life, like, you thought you was going, you still got to deal with this. You still got to deal with this. You can avoid it as long as you want, but you still got to deal with it. Why? Because the devil's behind that. And them demons are trying so hard, because demons got to stay employed, y'all. You do understand that. You know, because the devil knows who you are. Your life is all about exposing who you are through experience. It is also the linchpin of what reveals your purpose too. So dry your eyes. How about maybe not? Maybe this is the time that you can finally allow those tears to flow. Don't you realize tears cleanse the soul? You've been holding on to that angst inside your heart. You've been holding on to so much pain. Do you not see how that connects with your environment? I'll do one better. Do you not see how that affects the way that you see the world? How about the decisions you make? How about the people that you're connected with? Because I'm going to tell you what, the people that you're connected to, if they don't bring the best you, why are you with them? If they do not empower you, why are you with them? Because if they're doing the opposite, guess what? They're taking advantage of you, and they're going to use your life up like a battery. I say that with all life, with all love, and they know it. You with him because of what he brought to the table, and you thought you were going to get a free ride out of it, and what'd you get? You got more bruises. You got more exploitation. He got you doing things that you would never thought you'd be doing. Why? Because you ransomed your heart. You put a price tag on your on your on your identity. I had someone tell me the other day, Gerald, that's why women will never admit it, but we marry for security, not for love. But then don't you realize when you choose security over love, you just more or less said that I'm pretty much my happiness has been bought. That's a sellout. So, but guess what? That also you just also told that person that your opinion and voice means nothing. So what is that? That's a slave. So that ring, that's what that ring means. Instead of having a shackle around your neck, you got a wedding ring on there. That's the worst abomination you can do is be married to someone you don't love because it's not blessed. And you know what's sad about it? Everybody connected to that situation they're not gonna be sympathetic to you. They're gonna be connected to them because guess what? They're connected, and you willfully put yourself in an environment that you should have never been in. No blessings comes through struggle, but clarity does. Who am I talking to? So have the courage to speak your truth. Ground your feet. Always place God first. And not only watch what he shows you, but also take this is kind of hard to say, but have courage on what he protects you from. Because right now, there's a lot of stuff going on. And there's going to be a lot of people going to be tested too. And you're going to have some people that are going to willfully throw themselves onto their demise. Do you understand that, right? There's going to be a lot of people. They're going to be like, you know what? Well, if you can't beat them, join them. No, that ain't your story. That ain't. Remember, where love does not exist, nor is blessings. So why are you there? God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. But you know what's funny? 50% of the people are not going to do the work. And those 50% of the people, you're going to watch them suffer in silence. But remember this, that's a choice. So you have a choice to go with the flow or you claim your life back and watch what God delivers you from. You're worth it. Love to hear from you. Be blessed.